Just off the coast of Nova Scotia, there's this tiny, unassuming island. But for more than 2 centuries, it's been the center of one of the world's most baffling, most expensive, and most dangerous treasure hunts. Let's dive into the incredible story of Oak Island. And this one question, it's a big one. It's consumed fortunes, it's sparked this wild obsession, and yeah, it has even claimed lives. So what could possibly be buried so deep that someone would go to such incredible, almost unbelievable lengths to hide it? All right, so let's rewind the clock. We're going all the way back to 1795. Picture this. A young guy, Daniel McGinnis, is out exploring the island, and he comes across something odd, something that just doesn't belong. He finds a clearing with this massive old oak tree, and one of its limbs has clearly been sawed off, hanging right over a circular dip in the ground. So McGinnis and his buddies, they start to dig, and what they found, it was absolutely mind-blowing. I mean, this was no natural hole in the ground, not by a long shot. Every 10 feet they dug down, they hit a platform of solid oak logs, fitted perfectly into the walls of the shaft. It was a crystal clear sign that someone, with a lot of effort, had built this thing for a very specific reason. But wait, it gets even weirder. The hard clay walls of the shaft, they still had the marks from pickaxes. But the real kicker, the thing that made everyone go, whoa, they found layers of coconut fiber. Now think about that. Coconuts do not grow anywhere near Nova Scotia. This totally suggested that whoever built this thing wasn't local. They had access to stuff from tropical places, probably right out of the cargo hold of a big ship. So, what began as just a few friends digging a hole quickly snowballed into this massive, serious undertaking. By the early 1800s, the Onslow Company shows up with professional gear. They start pushing deeper and deeper. But here's the crazy part. The deeper they dug, it was almost like the island itself was fighting back, trying to keep it secret. Okay, so at 90 feet down, the team hits on something really tantalizing. A large stone slab covered in these strange, cryptic symbols. Now, a translation popped up decades later, and it promised a huge fortune. We're talking 2 million pounds. But here's the thing. Was it real, or was it just a clever hoax to get more investors? We'll probably never know for sure, because the original stone just vanished sometime in the early 1900s. So get this, right after they find that stone, they trigger the island's ultimate defense system. They come back the next morning and boom, the pit is filled with 60 feet of seawater. They just sprung this ingenious, centuries-old booby trap. It was basically an underground tunnel designed to use the full power of the ocean to guard whatever is at the bottom. And yet, the island always seems to give just enough of a hint to keep that obsession burning. Fast forward to 1849. A new group, the Truro Company, they show up. They use a drill to take samples from below the water. And when they pull it up, they find 3 tiny links of a gold chain. This was huge. It was the first real, hard proof that something valuable was actually down there. But, this promise of treasure, it came with a really terrible price. The whole search started to shift from being this exciting puzzle to, well, a genuine tragedy. And that's when the dark folklore really started to take hold. Yeah, a legend started to spread, a really ominous prophecy that's just hung over the island for more than 100 years now. And this so-called curse, it's become chillingly close to coming true, almost like a self-fulfilling prophecy. So far, 6 men have officially lost their lives searching for this treasure. It started with a boiler explosion back in 1861, but the worst was one single tragic afternoon in 1965. 4 men, Robert Restall, his son Bobby, and 2 of their partners, were all overcome by toxic gas at the bottom of a shaft. Just devastating. And this, right here, is the power of what people call treasure fever. See, the island gives you just enough clues, a coin here, a weird piece of wood there, those gold links, to create this incredibly powerful near-miss effect. It's a total psychological trap. It's what led guys like Frederick Blair, and especially the Restall family, to pour literally everything they had, their money, their time, their lives, into that pit, because they always, always believed they were just a few feet away from the big discovery. Okay, so let's just assume for a second, the pit is real, the traps are real. So who on earth built it and why? This is where the mystery just explodes, branching out into some of history's absolute greatest legends. And the theories? Oh man, they are just as epic as the mystery itself. Could it be like a pirate bank? A place where guys like Captain Kidd and Blackbeard stash their loot? Or what about something even bigger? A secret vault built by the Knights Templar to hide the Holy Grail. Or maybe something else entirely. A hidden archive from Sir Francis Bacon, holding the original manuscripts of William Shakespeare. All right, check this out. In 1897, a drill brings up this tiny, tiny scrap of parchment from over 150 feet deep. It's made of animal skin, and on it are the letters V and I, written in India ink, which is made to last. And this one single find completely changed the game. It suggested the treasure might not be gold at all, but something way more valuable: knowledge. A secret history, preserved in this deep, impenetrable vault. But what if there's no treasure? What if there are no pirates, no Templars, no secret vaults at all? What if this whole epic mystery is just a fantastic trick of nature? Because, geologists have come up with a really compelling and honestly, a much simpler explanation for everything. See, the island's geology is pretty unique. It's full of this soft, soluble limestone. So, geologists argue that the famous Money Pit, it could just be a deep, natural sinkhole. And those platforms? Just ancient trees that fell in and got swallowed by a collapse centuries ago. And those ingenious flood tunnels? They might just be natural channels and caves that seawater has been flowing through for thousands of years. Basically, for every single piece of evidence that points to this incredible man-made design, there's a plausible and, frankly, much simpler natural explanation. So here we are. After centuries of searching, millions of dollars spent, and lives lost, we're basically left with two possibilities. Either it's one of the most brilliant feats of engineering in history, guarding a world-changing secret, or it's a bizarre geological anomaly that has fueled a 200-year-old misunderstanding on a massive scale. The crazy thing is, the search itself has become a huge part of the problem. Back in the 60s, one searcher, Robert Dunfield, brought in a 70-ton crane and just dug this massive crater, 100 feet wide. He completely obliterated the original site of the Money Pit forever. It's so ironic. In our desperate hunt for answers, we might have actually destroyed the very clues we needed to solve it. And that, my friends, leaves us with the final big question. Is the real treasure of Oak Island actually something buried deep in the ground, or is the real treasure the mystery itself? This incredible, enduring story that perfectly reflects our own deep-seated need to believe that even in this modern world, there are still some great secrets out there just waiting to be discovered.